folks, welcome to Legacy IAS Academy. In this video, we will be discussing a current affair topic presented to you by your faculty, Sushma KP. So what is the topic that we will be looking into today? Battle for Buddhism in the Himalayas, where spirituality meets geopolitics between India and China. What is the issue? In this particular video, we will be discussing on the topics of geopolitical use of Buddhism in Himalaya, strategic importance of Himalayas beyond geography. We will be seeing from your Chinese Buddhist statecraft angle. We will also be seeing India's counter moves and Buddhist diplomacy of India. We will also be seeing Dalai Lama's succession crisis and what are the proxy conflicts with regarding to Buddhism, and at last what are the challenges for India. So how is it relevant to your UPSC? First and foremost in your GS paper 2 and GS paper 3 with respect to internal security and also in the border state areas. With respect to GS paper 1, impact of religion on your culture, identity, understanding? Now, coming back to the topic. So first and foremost, I will tell it to you like a story, you listen to it like a story. See, your China and India are known to be engaging in conflicts with regarding to your military, navy, army, okay, there are a lot of tensions between them. One of the more quieter, subtler and yet high impact zones of conflict between India and China is your Himalayas. Why are we telling Himalayas? Main reason is, see, in all other places, you have separate soft power, you have separate hard power. But only in your Himalayan region, your soft power is your hard power. Why am I telling you soft power is hard power? Because in the Himalayan region, because of its rough terrain, it is difficult to distinguish between border, boundaries, etc. But it is more easier to see the influence of particular state on these people. Understanding? One of the most important things with respect to your Himalayan region is its Buddhism. Now your China has played a very big plan with respect to your Buddhism in your Himalayan states. It is a centralized plan. So much so that it says that religion evolves or religion is coming out of your national politics. Whereas on the other hand, India is playing more of a catch up with this. Your China's policy is in such a level that it wants to create a soft power, which in turn is its hard power in these places where, for example, I'll tell you, Himalayan states, let's say roads are connected to the shrines, to these monks, understanding? But it is with China's aid that they are constructing these roads. So the people are able to easily go there to the shrines without much hassle. They know that, okay, the influence is towards China. Second thing, they conduct a lot of meetings, a lot of, let's say, bringing in the people together, bringing the community in towards themselves. Somewhere when the monks come out of that, there is good engagement process your China is trying to do. In this, what is happening? These monks, when they leave from there, subtly they have shifted loyalties. Look at the words I'm using, subtle shifted loyalties we observe. Somewhere it is using it to drag the people on their side. Understanding? Now when we say geopolitical use of Buddhism in Himalayan frontier, first and foremost, religious identity. Your China wants to transform the religious identity to suit the national interests of China. So much so that now we cannot stop without being addressing the elephant in the room, that is your Dalai Lama's reincarnation. But the 14th Dalai Lama has held that he will be reincarnated but outside of your Chinese controlled regions, indicating in India. For which your China has countered, telling that the next Dalai Lama will be chosen according to the Golden Urn method, and that will be according to your China. So if the Dalai Lama is now kept in a place where it is completely controlled by Chinese supremacy, then automatically both the internal elements as well as external elements, which means states within our country and countries outside India who have majority of Buddhism will lean towards China. Now they'll have to be chosen, or they'll have to be forced to choose between India and China. Understanding based on the Dalai Lama itself. So this is one thing. Second thing is border control. Through this they are establishing, like for example I told you, building of roads, building of passages in such a manner that they want to control everything of this religion and the people towards, and have a sway on them towards their side. Because in these regions, like I told you, rough terrain, you can only exert your soft power and in turn exert your hard power. This would mean a strategic influence, and your soft power is what the determining factor is. What are the strategic importance? For example, the border areas are your Ladakh, Arunachal, Bhutan, Sikkim, all of them have Buddhism as a central element. Your Buddhist roots are something that they are using to bring the influence of these people towards their side, have a sway on their side. See, in these regions it's simple. Identity is what is loyalty. Where loyalty lies, that is where strategic control lies. My identity, if it is aligning with, let's say, the Dalai Lama who will be picked by your China, then I will be loyal to him. Then my loyalty would mean that they have the strategic influence over me. Yes or no? The issue here is with respect to the reincarnation of the Lamas, or otherwise what we call as living Buddhas. Your China passed a legal document and doctrine stating that from further onwards, it has a list of the living Buddhas, how the reincarnation of Lamas will take place, and it will happen according to the golden run method, and they will be the one to dictate how it will happen. This is against the way how your present Dalai Lama or the sect that has come away has been telling it. Now, how is China trying to use Buddhism in its statecraft? I told you China is trying to put this in its statecraft, where India is just trying to use it in its diplomacy. Let's see how. See, your exiled Tibetan leaders were sent from your 1950s who took refuge in India. 2007 China passes right to approve the reincarnations, which means they are telling the reincarnations should be approved by the state. So do you look at this word, China's Buddhist statecraft? Your religion is to suit the statecraft, or this is used for the statecraft. So as of now, the state is completely controlled by Buddhism, and if they control the Buddhism itself, who is going to control the ultimate power? China. How are they using it? They are using the monasteries as more of PR fronts, trying to give them good amount of access. All the monks are monitored and have to be kept in such a manner that they are aligned with Beijing. What are the soft power tools they are using to do such a thing? First and foremost, infrastructure. Your Nepal, Lumbini, even though the king's control is very high on religion, yet the development surrounding your Lumbini is a very important place for your Buddha, is from your China's help. They conduct good amount of conferences, forums, so as to when the monks leave from there, there is a subtle shift in loyalties. They provide good amount of aids for funding, infrastructure, roads, pavements, and also they passed a legal doctrine, Living Buddha Reincarnation Management Measures in 2007, which holds that your China will be the one who has to approve the reincarnation, and it will be held only in the golden urn method. So the Living Buddha database is what they claim to be holding, and they claim that it will happen only in that order. How is India trying to countermove this, or how is India's Buddhist diplomacy? First and foremost, if you see, we are using it more as a cultural soft power. How? See, when we gave refuge to, or when your Dalai Lama was hosted in India, it gave us more of a moral stature, but it did not give us any strategic level of importance in that region. Very recently is where we started having good amount of involvement stating that no, Dalai Lama, when your China claimed it will be selected through your golden urn method, we strictly held that no. The present Dalai Lama is who will be telling or nominate the next Dalai Lama. Understanding? And in between, when we said India's Buddhist diplomacy, how did we start? See, we have been having the depth or deep roots of Buddhism as to this is the birthplace of Buddhism and all. So we have started with in your 2000 sense your Buddhist your diplomacy under your Buddhist circuits in form of Bodh Gaya, Sarnath. Okay, we've also conducted international Buddhist conferences. Okay, so this is more of a cultural diplomacy and providing few circuits. But that is not enough compared to your centralized vision that China has made. So if you see the approach with respect to India and China in using or utilizing Buddhism, India's is more of a fragmented and reactive approach, where China's is more of a centralized vision. How can we make sure that yes, we are having a good tie with respect to promoting Buddhism and the importance of India, okay, the deep rootedness of Buddhism in India and India's culture? We have Prasad scheme, and then we have Ministry of Culture and External Affairs both involved in this, but this alone is not yielding enough results. Dalai Lama's succession crisis. The present 14th Dalai Lama, that is golden urn, is how your China is claiming that it will select the next Dalai Lama, or otherwise China controlled. Second is free reincarnation, which will be chosen by the present 90-year-old plus Dalai Lama. The China wants to give legitimacy to the one picked by them to the golden urn, whereas India wants to pick sides to the free reincarnation, which will be chosen by your present Dalai Lama. Now, whichever one these two pick, the states of India as well as your countries with Buddhism as its main religious identity will be forced to choose between India and China. Understanding? So what would happen? There is a possibility of two Dalai Lamas. The question now comes is, whose alignment is going to stand where? Understanding? So this will cause a religious divide and a political divide, and also your Ladakh, Tawang, Mongolia, Sri Lanka, whose central religious identity is Buddhism, will be made to choose. Now where your identity lies is where your loyalty lies, and where your loyalty lies is who gets the strategic importance. Right? Now, for example, your China has claimed Tawang as its, that is your Arunachal Pradesh regions, because it says that it is the birthplace of 6th Dalai Lama, and they claim anything that is Buddhism is ours. So it claims that for cultural reasons. Nepal and Bhutan are also having a good amount of influence from your China's perspective in Buddhism. Understanding? What are the proxy conflicts within Buddhism and how is it? See, we spoke about Dalai Lama, we spoke about the issues wherein how the monks, everything, monasteries are turning in favor of your China. Your China is leaving no stone unturned. As in within Buddhism, whatever sects, whatever conflicts are there, that also sections which are supported, or let's say the present Dalai Lama, if they are against someone, they are freely supported by China. For example, your Karma Kagyu lineage, okay, there are two rival Karma paths. One is the exiled Dalai Lama is not supporting them. They are being supported by your China. The other faction is supported by India. Same is pure Dorje Shudgan. This is a sect banned by Dalai Lama but openly supported by your China. And through this, they want to undermine the exile hierarchy and end it at that. Understanding? Now, if we leave it like this, let's say, yes, it is something about the religion, it is not something we have to worry about. Let's say if the people in our country are going to have loyalty towards the people who are across LAC, line of actual control, don't you think that creates a lot of issues for us as a country, and it will undermine our sovereignty? Don't you think it will undermine our security? So now do you see, when we say your soft power is hard power in your Himalayan regions? So what are the challenges for India? There is a drift in loyalties. The Buddhist institutions which are more, again the aid, the monasteries, etc. are somewhere to be swayed on the China side. Now India has to do the balancing act between your religion and national security in border areas. What is the internal security risk that might be posing? The monasteries aligning with China-sponsored lamas and monks can shape the sentiments of the people in the border-sensitive areas, which again, we can't have the shifting loyalty towards the regions across LAC. So what can we do for this situation? First is institutionalize, bring all your Buddhist diplomacy under one umbrella scheme with your Ministry of External Affairs and Cultural Ministry. Bring both of it in together. Cultural influence in major Buddhist border states must be influenced and assert India's independence as your Buddhist, okay, the birthplace of Buddhism. We have to make good advantage of that in aspect of our cultural identity and strengthen India's narrative as Buddha's birthplace globally. Understanding? So, in summation, what is the battle for Buddhism over? What is your China strategy? Living Buddha law, which means they will be the one who will select the next successor of Dalai Lama. Lumbini projects, where they are trying to cover up all the Nepal regions. Golden urn method, they are trying to pick the next Dalai Lama. And your monastery monitoring so as to keep the monks swayed on their side. What are India's actions supporting Dalai Lama? Buddhist pilgrimage Prasad scheme, Buddhist diplomacy, your Ministry of External Affairs and Ministry of Culture. Next, your Tawang dispute. That is, majority of these regions are claimed by your China. Like as I mentioned, anything of Buddhism is ours. They are using this to claim legitimacy. Okay, your Kamarpa rivalry, one supported by India, one supported by China. Dorje should again split. Again, succession of Dalai Lama, which will be happening. See, what we can predict is, now India started with supporting for the influence of the Dalai Lama. This wouldn't mean that China will be taking it easily. It will create a large, immense amount of pressure that would come. But if we do not take this stance now, we will have a lot of undesirable effect where the shifting loyalties might be a detrimental thing to India's safety, security and sovereignty. Understanding? With this, we've come to the end of the content. If you like our content, subscribe to our channel, hit the like button, share it along with your friends. Thank you.